Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, it brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing.
Good morning, and welcome to Storytime. Thank you so much for being here with me. Happy Thursday, wherever you are. And of course, always a pleasure to be here with you. Thank you for taking the time to spend here with us, on Storytime. Always excited, always happy to read books together. And please keep those recommendations coming. I got 2 more yesterday and working to bring those to Storytime. Excited for all the guests that we'll be having coming up. And so keep ears and eyes open and just keep tuned in to see what's coming up Storytime. And then, of course, too, I must say that I'll be here for part of next week, and then I'll be gone for 2-3 weeks, and then of course there'll be recordings that have been set up for you, and everything will still be running as usual. But of course I won't be here live, taking a little bit of vacation, and of course seeing the World Cup as well. So excited for that. And then, of course, we'll be back full swing with Storytime and guests and all of that good stuff. So please look out for all that, the lineup that will be coming up in the next couple of weeks. And then, of course, too, look out for more videos as well that will be coming to us from the World Cup. I'm excited for that. So thank you so much for joining in, friends. And always a pleasure to be here together. And if there's any book that you've seen on Storytime and you would like to see again, one that we've already covered, please let us know, let me know, and I'll make sure that we add that to the playlist that will be there for the summer, for the part of the summer that I'll be away. So please remember to do that. Let us know if there's any interview, any conversation, any guest that we've had and you'd like that replayed. Well, let us know and we'll make sure that that is all queued up for you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. And the summer is good for so many things. Relaxing, going to the beach, as you can see even just from our picture. I want to be somewhere like that today, right? I want to be somewhere like that. Yes, sit on a swing on the beach. That sounds amazing. And of course, maybe with some pineapple flavored drink. Oh, yes, please take me there. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. What is your favorite drink? And of course, too, there's many things. Friends, right? We get to meet friends. Maybe we go to camp. Maybe whatever we do. But sometimes too, pie. I love pie. What's your favorite? Mine is pecan. I think pecan pie is definitely my favorite. And of course, when I'm back home, we have our pies there. I love the pies. They're more like empanadas actually. But I love a good steak flavored pie. What's yours? Thank you so much for joining in. And talking about pie, we do have a wonderful book to read together today. And this one is called Enemy Pie Maybe that's your favorite, or it might be your new favorite. Well, we'll find out by the end of this book. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. We're reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco, and it is written by Derek Munson and illustrations by Tara Calahan King. Get ready for this one. Get ready to enjoy delicious book coming up. Enemy Pie. It could just be your next favorite. Sit tight for this one. Thank you so much for being here with us, friends. Always appreciate you. Always appreciate the time that we spend together. And of course, I hope that you are well. I hope that your loved ones are well. And remember to check in on them. Check in on them. Give them a shout. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Let us see who is with us, ready to enjoy a wonderful story. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for being here. Miles and Owen, thank you for being here with us on Storytime. And of course, Kristen, thank you so much for joining us out there in Massachusetts. I hope that your summer is going super duper well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Miles and Owen, thank you for being here with us on Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. Oh my goodness, welcome back to Storytime Live. This is part of the reason I love the summers, because we get to see all our friends come back. Thank you so much for joining in, Rocco, Clay, and of course, Chriselle. Thank you so much for joining us from out in LBC. I've not been able to say that for a while now. Thank you for being here with us live. Good to see you. I hope that everything is going well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime, Clay, Rocco, and Chriselle. Thank you so much for being here with us as well. I appreciate you and glad that you're here with us on Storytime. And hopefully it's cooling down a little bit. I know that I think we were on the same weather storm that was moving across from the Bay here down south. It was pretty hot, so I hope that it's now cooling down a little bit more out there in Long Beach as well. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good to see you here. I hope you're ready for this wonderful book that we have together. Good morning to you, Tara, and of course, good morning to you, Erin and Clara. Thank you so much for joining in. Oh, not feeling too great today. Well, I hope that this book makes you laugh. I hope that it makes you feel a little bit better. Thank you so much for joining in. We're cuddling while watching. It is sunny and hot today. Well, thank you so much for being here with us. I hope that the cuddles and the books and the laughter definitely make you feel better. Erin and Clara sending you love and hugs and healing vibes for sure. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Appreciate you. And of course, Tara, thank you for being here as well. And Matt, we send you love as well. Thank you so much for joining us on Storytime. I hope that you have a wonderful day out there in Massachusetts. Thank you indeed. Erin and Clara like pudding pie. Oh, mommy and daddy like crawfish pie. I've never had crawfish pie, but now you're putting ideas in my head. I love that. I love that. I need to diversify from my choice number one, pecan pie, and I stick to that. But I have to try it out. Ooh, pudding pie. Yes. Oh my goodness. Crawfish, I am yet to try that one. I'll be sure to let you know when I do. Oh, thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime. But we have another kind of pie that we're considering today. Enemy pie. Get ready for this one. Do you think it'll be delicious? Do you think not? Written by Derek Munson, illustrations by Tara Calahan King, and of course, reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. And I must say, too, as you can see in the corner there, that this was a Reading Rainbow book, Reading Rainbow selection. Just how beautiful is that? How powerful is that? As we know, the work of LeVar Burton is just unmatched. So, really a pleasure to be reading a book that was a Reading Rainbow, that is a Reading Rainbow selection. So here on Storytime, Enemy Pie coming right up. And I was looking at something too, because I remember one of my good friends, Jen Vedder, while working at Chronicle Books, was one of the people that was involved in the making of this book. So always excited when I read this one and look at it and see, just think of, that my good friend had a hand in it as well. And it was published in 2000. So that's a long time ago now, right? Almost 23 years. So yeah, a classic. and we're reading it here on Storytime today. Get ready, get comfortable, get cozy. Go, 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 grab what you need right now and come back and make it even better. Yes, if you need your blanket, if you need your hot chocolate, if you need a cool drink, if you need a snack, go now. Grab it. We'll be right back after this short break. I will grab my tea too. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I'll see you on the other side of this very short message. Thank you for being here with us, friends. Absolutely appreciate you. And I'll catch you on the other side.
Hey, this is Timothy Goodspeed of the Soapbox Salute. I'm the one who wrote Storytime's theme song. If you'd like to hear more of my protest folk music, you can check out the links below on Instagram or at my website. You are watching Storytime with Mr. Lamata.
Have you ever wondered what makes you special? Maybe it's the color of your eyes. Maybe it's something that you can do, like sing. Well, with my brand new book, I See Me, you'll find out exactly what makes you awesomely special. Make sure you keep in touch with me on my social media handles and at Just in Time for Storytime. You're watching Storytime with Mr. Lamont.
Welcome back indeed. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, the Soapbox Salute. We wish you the very best on your music journey. He's now full-time into music. I've stepped away from classroom for a little bit, but yeah, so all the best, Tim. We wish you all the best, and yeah, we're rooting for you here at Storytime. And of course, just in time for Storytime, do check out Justin Ford and of course his amazing book, I See Me. And we're featured here on Storytime, and we'll bring it back. Why not? We'll bring it back over the period when I am away. But I hope that yeah, you have a wonderful, wonderful time enjoying this story today. Good morning to you, Ari, and of course Megan out in Kentucky. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Appreciate you, and I hope that you're ready for today's story. Here we go. Enemy Pie. This one written by Derek Munson. And illustrations by Tara Calahan King. And of course, reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Enemy Pie. Will we be saying yum or will we be saying yuck? Let's find out. And I love these end papers too. Here we go. Enemy Pie. Written by Derek Munson. Illustrations by Tara Calahan King. And we're reading this one with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. It should have been a perfect summer. My dad helped me build a treehouse in our backyard. My sister was at camp for 3 whole weeks, and I was on the best baseball team in town. It should have been a perfect summer, but it wasn't. Why? It should have been a perfect summer, but it wasn't. Why? It was all good until Jeremy Ross moved into the neighborhood, right next door to my best friend Stanley. I did not like Jeremy Ross. He laughed at me when he struck me out in a baseball game. He had a party on his trampoline, and I wasn't even invited. But my best friend Stanley was. I don't know if I like this Jeremy Ross either. Jeremy Ross was the one and only person on my enemy list. I never even had an enemy list until he moved into the neighborhood. But as soon as he came along, I needed one. I hung it up in my treehouse where Jeremy Ross was not allowed to go. Oh. Jeremy Ross in the neighborhood. Dad understood stuff like enemies. He told me that when he was my age, he had enemies too, but he knew of a way to get rid of them. I asked him to tell me how. Do you have a way to get rid of enemies? Tell you how? I will show you how, he said. He pulled a really old recipe out, a recipe book off the kitchen shelf. Inside, there was a worn-out scrap of paper with faded writing. What could it be? Dad held it up and squinted at it. Enemy pie, he said, satisfied. Enemy pie. Oh, we'll catch you later, Ari and Megan. Enemy pie. Are you curious what enemy pie is all about? You may be wondering, what exactly is enemy pie? I was wondering too, but Dad said the recipe was so secret he couldn't even tell me. I decided it must be magic. I begged him to tell me something, anything. I will tell you this, he said. Enemy pie is the fastest known way to get rid of enemies. Ooh. Now, of course, this got my mind working. What kind of things, disgusting things, would I put into a pie for an enemy? I brought Dad some weeds from the garden, but he just shook his head. No. I brought him earthworms and rocks, but he didn't think he'd need those either. I gave him the gum I'd been chewing on all morning. He gave it right back to me. If none of those things go into enemy pie, what does? What do you think? What would be your recipe of enemy pie look like? Oh, what would it include? I went out to play alone. I shot baskets until the ball got stuck on the roof. I threw a boomerang that never came back to me. And all the while, I listened to the sounds of my dad chopping and stirring and blending ingredients of enemy pie. This could be a great summer after all. Enemy pie was going to be awful. I tried to imagine how horrible it must smell, or worse yet, what it would look like. But when I was in the backyard looking for ladybugs, I smelled something really, really, really good. Could it be enemy pie? As far as I could tell, it was coming from our kitchen. I was a bit confused. Well, I'm confused too. Can you smell that enemy pie too? I went in to ask Dad what was wrong. Enemy pie shouldn't smell this good. But Dad was smart. If enemy pie smelled bad, your enemy would never eat it, he said. I could tell he had made enemy pie before. The buzzer rang and Dad put on the oven mitts and pulled the pie out of the oven. It looked like plain old pie. It looked good enough to eat. I was catching on. But still, I wasn't really sure how this enemy pie worked. What exactly did it do to enemies? Maybe it made their hair fall off or their breath stinky. Oh, maybe it made bullies cry. I asked Dad, but he was no help. He wouldn't tell me a thing. But while the pie cooled, it filled me in on my job. Ooh. Doom, doom, doom. What was I supposed to do? What is your job? He talked quietly. There is one part of enemy pie that I can't do. In order for it to work, you need to spend a day with your enemy. Even worse, you have to be nice to him. It's not easy, but that's the only way the enemy pie can work. Are you sure you want to go through with this? Of course I was. It sounded horrible. It was scary, but it was worth a try. All I had to do was spend one day with Jeremy Ross. Then he would be out of my hair for the rest of my life. I rode my bike to his house and knocked on the door. Hi, Luna. Hi, Grandma. When Jeremy opened the door, he seemed surprised. He stood on the other side of the screen door and looked at me, waiting for me to say something. I was nervous. Can you play? I asked. He looked confused. I will go ask my mom, he said. He came back with his shoes in his hand. His mom walked around the corner to say hello. You boys stay out of trouble, she said, smiling. Oh, it has begun. We rode bikes for a while and played on the trampoline. Then we made some water balloons and threw them at the neighbor girls. But we missed. Jeremy's mom made us lunch. After lunch, we went over to my house. It was strange, but I was kind of having fun with my enemy. He almost seemed nice. But of course, I couldn't tell Dad that since he had worked so hard to make this enemy pie. Jeremy liked my basketball hoop. He said he wished he had a basketball hoop, but they didn't have room for one. I let him win a game just to be nice. That sounds like a good time, doesn't it? Jeremy Ross knew how to throw a boomerang. He threw it and it came right back to him. I threw it and it went over my house and into the backyard. When we climbed over the fence to find it, the first thing Jeremy noticed was my tree house. Ooh. You have a tree house? My treehouse was my treehouse. I was the boss. If my sister wanted in, I didn't have to let her. If my dad wanted in, I didn't have to let him. And if Jeremy wanted in, can we go in it? He asked. I knew he was going to ask me that. But he was the top person, the only person on my enemy list, and enemies aren't allowed in my treehouse. But he did teach me to throw a boomerang, and he did have me over for lunch, and he did let me play on his trampoline. He wasn't being a very good enemy, was he? Okay, I said, but hold on. No. He was not being a good enemy. I climbed up ahead of him and tore the enemy list off of the wall very quickly. I had a checkerboard and some cards in the treehouse, and we played games until my dad called us down for dinner. We pretended we didn't hear him. And when he came out to get us, we tried to hide from him, but somehow he found us. What's your favorite board game? Dad made us macaroni and cheese for dinner. My favorite. It was Jeremy's favorite too. Maybe Jeremy Ross wasn't so bad after all. I was beginning to think that maybe we should just forget about enemy pie. But sure enough, after dinner, Dad brought out the pie. I watched as he cut the pie into 8 thick slices. Dad, I said, it sure is nice having a new friend in the neighborhood. I was trying to get his attention and trying to tell him that Jeremy Ross was no longer my enemy. But Dad only smiled and nodded. I think he thought I was just pretending. Oh, no. Ah. Dad dished up 3 plates side by side with big pieces of pie and giant scoops of ice cream. Yum, yum, yum. He passed one to me and one to Jeremy. Wow, Jeremy said, looking at the pie. My dad never makes pie like this. It was at this point that I panicked. What was I to do? Was I going to let Jeremy eat it? I didn't want Jeremy to eat the enemy pie. He was my friend. I couldn't let him eat it. Oh, no. Jeremy, don't eat it. It's bad pie. I think it's poisonous or something. Jeremy's fork stopped before reaching his mouth. He crumpled his eyebrows and looked at me funny. I felt relieved. I had saved his life. I was a hero. Oh, don't eat it, Jeremy. It could be poisonous or something. I think it's poisonous or something. If it's so bad, Jeremy asked, then why has your dad already eaten half of it? I turned to look at my dad. Sure enough, he was eating enemy pie. Good stuff, he mumbled through a mouthful. And that was all he said. I sat there watching them eat enemy pie for a few seconds. Dad was laughing, Jeremy was happily eating, and neither one of them was losing any hair. It seemed safe enough, so I took a tiny taste. Enemy pie was delicious. Wow, they're not losing any hair. They seem to be eating happily. I'll take a bite too. And it was delicious. Ah. After dessert, Jeremy rode his bike home, but not before inviting me over to play on his trampoline in the morning. He said he'll teach me how to flip. As for enemy pie, I still don't know how to make it. I still wonder if enemies really do hate it, or if their hair falls out, or their breath turns bad. But I don't think I know if I will ever get an answer because I just lost my best enemy. Ah, yeah, we'll never find out, I guess. And that is the end of this very delicious book. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. This has been our book today, Enemy Pie, a Reading Rainbow selection. How cool is that? This one is written by Derek Munson, illustrations by Tara Calahan King. And of course, we're reading it with permission of the publishers, Chronicle Books of San Francisco. Thank you so much for joining in, friends. I'll catch you on the other side of this short break when we're back for more story time. Thank you so much for being here with us on Story Time.
Hi, everyone. I'm Amanda with Amanda Weltman Photography. I'm a photographer and printmaker based in the Pacific Northwest, and I believe that your face deserves wall space. Enjoy today's story time with my favorite storyteller, Mr. LaMotta.
Hello, I'm Brianna Carzu, the author and illustrator of Lou, and you're watching Storytime with Mr. LaMotta.
Welcome back. Thank you so much. And do check out Lou and of course, brand new book coming out, Green Light. So do check out that one from Brianna Kazoo. And of course, your beautiful faces deserve war space. Check out Amanda Waltman Photography from out there in the Pacific Northwest. So if you're looking for pictures and you're out there, please be sure to check out Amanda. Thank you so much for joining in Story Time today. I hope that you enjoyed that story. I hope that you had fun with us. Enemy Pie, one of my favorites for sure. I hope that you enjoyed it. And of course, we continue to enjoy beautiful books this week. And tomorrow we bring back another Oh, just another one of those beautiful one indeed, heartwarming, funny, and just lots of love and lots of family in this one. And this is called Mi Casa is My Home, and it is written by Lauren Sala and of course Zara Gonzalez Hong. So please join me on Storytime tomorrow and get to enjoy this lovely book as you get to meet Lucia and her family. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. This has been Storytime for today. Always a pleasure to be here with you. If you're not feeling too well, like Erin and Clara today, sending you love. Hopefully, you get to knock off all those little aches and pains and sniffles and everything. Hope they go away very soon and you're back to full fitness. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. We love you. We appreciate you. And thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Feel better. Thank you indeed for joining in. And Kathy and Luna, you say, I love this book. Well, we love it too here on Storytime. Definitely one that will be back here many, many times and many years to come. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Good to see you here with us. Kathy and Luna, thank you so much for joining in. Yes. Hugs to you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us. Nathan and Sarah, thank you so much for joining in. We'll catch up today's book after cup. But Indy, Zoe, and I are listening while prepping for a day in Illinois. Well, thank you so much for being here, Amanda and Nathan and Sarah. We hope that you're enjoying camp. We hope that you're having fun and hopefully out there too enjoying it and hopefully not making too much enemy pie. But it sounds delicious by the sounds of it, though. So who knows? Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Absolutely appreciate you. And we hope to see you again here with us tomorrow on Storytime. And yes, take care of that. Take care of that router. Hopefully everything is back to normal pretty soon. And of course, when you catch us later for the recording, sending you lots and lots of hugs. Thank you for being here with us on Storytime, for joining us early on. Thank you, Megan. And of course, Ari, thank you so much from out there in Kentucky. Tara, and of course, Clara, you're telling us that you love pudding pie. And of course, mommy and daddy like crawfish pie. Oh, yum, yum, yum. I'm yet to try out crawfish pie though, but pudding pie, yes. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. I am glad that you're here with us on Storytime. And of course, feel better. Thank you for joining us. Good morning to you, Rocco, Clay, and of course, Chriselle. Good to see you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. My love to the rest of the family as well. We appreciate you. We love you. Thank you so much for joining in Storytime. Happy Thursday to you. Good to see you here, fam. Thank you so much for being here with us. Miles and Owen, thank you for joining us from out in Massachusetts. This has been Storytime for today from out here in Oakland. Of course, sending you love wherever you are in the world. Thank you so much for being here with us. And we'll be right back tomorrow with another exciting story. Mi casa is my home. Yes, come on in and join us for this one tomorrow. I promise you, laughs guaranteed. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. Please have yourselves a wonderful, wonderful day. And I hope that it is full of laughter. And yes, full of mending bridges and just checking in on loved ones as well. Thank you so much for being here with us on Storytime. And just a reminder too, that I'll be here part of next week. And then I'll be gone a while, a couple of weeks. Going to the World Cup. Excited for that, but definitely we'll be keeping you posted on what's happening. And of course, we'll miss you dearly, but I hope that too, that you enjoy all the recordings that we have lined up for you over the coming next few couple of weeks. So thank you so much for being here with us. Much love from me, and I will see you again tomorrow for more story time. Bye-bye.
Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh. favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Oh, story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't leave lonely, won't you start all the reading? I just can't wait to be hearing. A neighborhood story time. Ooh. Story time. Story time with Mr. Lamada. He will be starting soon. Story time with Mr. Lamada, where all your dreams come true. Oh, he brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing. Brings to life your favorite stories with a great big smile. You won't live lonely, won't you start all the reading? We just can't wait to be hearing.